Today, we're diving into Grandpa's top 20 borax gardening hacks. Simple solutions that professional gardeners often keep under wraps. From stopping black hardened beets to boosting tomato yields, these tips use just a pinch of borax to solve some of the most frustrating plant problems you've ever faced. Stick around, because in the next few minutes, you'll learn exactly how Grandpa mixes and applies borax to transform an average garden into a thriving one. Number 1, fix boron deficiency in soil. Grandpa always says that when plants start acting moody, like refusing to flower or showing random discolored patches, it's a telltale sign the soil might be missing boron. A quick fix is dissolving 1 tablespoon of borax in a gallon of water and lightly soaking the ground around each plant once a year. The key is moderation. Too little boron won't solve anything, but too much can burn roots and leaves. Balanced boron makes nutrients more accessible, so the plants can absorb crucial minerals without getting locked out. This translates to stronger stems, healthier foliage, and less frustration when you wander into your garden hoping for a big harvest. Keep the soil evenly moist to help boron move around and reach those thirsty roots, and give your plants a better chance at thriving with minimal fuss. Number 2, boost tomato flowering and fruit set. Nothing feels worse than seeing all those bright yellow tomato blossoms drop before turning into fruit. Grandpa recommends mixing 1 teaspoon of borax into a gallon of water, then pouring it at the base of each tomato plant early in the season. Boron helps encourage fruit development by improving pollination and increasing the viability of the flowers. The result is fewer blooms falling off and more actual tomatoes growing. Just remember not to splash leaves with this solution. Boron is beneficial in tiny doses, but harsh if applied directly on tender foliage. Water consistently, because if your soil dries up right after adding borax, the boron won't be distributed evenly, and the results might not be as impressive. Number 3, prevent black hardened beets. Beets can develop ugly dark spots inside their roots when they're suffering from boron deficiency. Grandpa's trick is to dissolve 1 teaspoon of borax into a gallon of water and douse the soil before planting. The immediate payoff is more uniform sugar distribution in the beetroot, which means sweeter flavor plus consistent color all the way through. The condition called black heart often shows up if the beets go through wet-dry cycles, so keep the soil gently moist. Balanced boron levels lead to well-formed, vibrant beets with none of that bitter, discolored center. A quick check of articles online shows that root crops really depend on boron to develop correctly, so it's no surprise that the old man's hack works wonders. Number 4, strengthen pepper blooms. Pepper plants can be drama queens, dropping flowers if they're even slightly stressed. Low boron is one of the sneaky causes behind blossom drop. Mixing 1 teaspoon of borax in a gallon of water and applying it around the roots can drastically reduce flower loss. That means more peppers in the end, whether you're growing sweet bells or spicy chilies. Just don't go crazy and over-apply. Peppers don't need a constant boron bath. A light dose early on is enough. Keep your watering schedule consistent so the nutrient circulates. Grandpa likes to remind everyone that a strong flower means a strong fruit set. And that's good news if you're tired of seeing pepper plants that look healthy but produce nothing but disappointment. Number 5, solve tip burn in cauliflower. If you've ever cut open a cauliflower head only to see brownish edges or weird scorched tips, it's often a signal the plant can't move calcium correctly due to lack of boron. Grandpa fixes this by blending 1 teaspoon of borax with a gallon of water and pouring it around the cauliflower base once at the beginning of the season. According to gardening articles, boron is vital for nutrient movement, which means if the soil has no boron, calcium just hangs out uselessly. Good moisture management is crucial since boron travels via water. Cauliflower heads that get enough boron form bright white, dense florets instead of turning brown or developing funky textures. A simple tweak makes all the difference. Number 6, improve pollination in squash. Squash plants put out massive, gorgeous flowers, but if they don't get enough pollinator visits, or if the flowers are weak due to low boron, they won't set fruit. Grandpa insists on dissolving a teaspoon of borax in a gallon of water and pouring it around the plant's base early in the season. That extra boron helps the flowers produce more nectar and stay more robust, which in turn attracts bees, butterflies, and beneficial bugs. Healthy blossoms result in bigger, better squash. A consistent watering routine ensures the boron is distributed throughout the root zone rather than concentrated in one spot. This is your 1-2 punch for a healthy squash patch, enough micronutrients plus plenty of pollinators. Number 7, prevent hollow heart in potatoes. Potatoes sometimes develop strange hollow cavities inside, especially when there are nutrient imbalances or rapid growth spurts. A proven hack is adding half a teaspoon of borax to 5 gallons of water, then soaking the soil before planting. Keep the moisture level even so the plants don't get drenched one day and parched the next. When boron is present in adequate amounts, it promotes uniform cell development in tubers, reducing the risk of internal gaps. The payoff is a pile of dense, creamy spuds that make better fries, mashed potatoes, and hash browns. Nothing beats the satisfaction of cutting open a homegrown potato to find it perfect all the way through. Number 8. Enhance carrot sweetness and shape. Carrots can turn out short, forked, or weirdly bitter if they miss out on boron. According to Grandpa, the solution is straightforward. Half a teaspoon of borax per square yard of soil, mixed in before sowing seeds. Water that plot consistently, and the carrots grow straight and plump with a naturally sweet taste. Research suggests boron plays a part in sugar production for carrots, so no wonder their flavor improves with this hack. Don't over-apply borax, though. If carrots get too much, the leaves may burn. Stick to that small dose, and your carrots will be brag-worthy for sure. Number 9. Protect melons from cracking. When melons crack before they fully ripen, it's usually from uneven water uptake. But another factor that often goes overlooked is boron deficiency, which disrupts the melon's ability to handle subtle shifts in moisture. 1 teaspoon of borax in a gallon of water, poured out early in the growth cycle, helps keep the rind strong yet flexible. Consistent watering after that also prevents the melon from swelling too suddenly. You end up with perfectly shaped fruits that don't split in half at the worst possible time. The added bonus is that well-balanced melon plants often develop better sweetness and texture. It's the kind of little-known hack that sets Grandpa's advice apart from typical gardening tips you see everywhere. Number 10. Aid lettuce leaf uniformity. Lettuce leaves can get crumpled edges or grow unevenly when boron is scarce. Grandpa's approach is dissolving 1 teaspoon of borax into a gallon of water, then carefully drenching the soil around young lettuce. Immediately water again to spread the solution thoroughly. This ensures uniform leaf expansion so the lettuce grows crisp and consistent. If you browse online articles about leafy greens, you'll see constant reminders about how crucial micronutrients are for overall texture and flavor. Combine adequate boron with stable moisture, and you'll harvest tender leaves that are perfect for salads and sandwiches. This is far more satisfying than dealing with limp, irregular heads that never quite taste right. Number 11. Strengthen onion bulbs. Onions can end up puny when their root system doesn't develop properly, and a big piece of that puzzle is boron. Grandpa's trick is to scatter half a teaspoon of borax per square yard of soil before planting. Then he mixes it in well, gives a thorough watering, and lets the onion sets settle in. Boron helps the roots elongate so the bulbs can pull in the nutrients they need. Keep the soil consistently damp, and those onions have a real shot at becoming hefty and flavorful. This hack also reduces the chances of the bulbs splitting or getting soft spots. A robust root system generally means fewer weird problems during the season. Number 12. Reduce blossom drop in eggplants. Eggplants can be divas. They'll produce plenty of flowers, then drop them all if something isn't just right. Grandpa says to dissolve 1 teaspoon of borax in a gallon of water and drench the soil prior to flowering. Boron boosts pollen viability and helps the plant hold on to those blooms. Ensure the plants get regular watering and lots of sunlight, because an eggplant that's stressed by heat or dryness might drop flowers no matter how much boron it has. But if everything is balanced, you'll see fuller, shinier eggplants with minimal seed pockets and vibrant color. Number 13. Stop Brussels sprouts from getting bitter. Brussels sprouts that taste too strong or bitter can be the result of poor nutrient transport, sometimes traced back to low boron. Mix 1 teaspoon of borax in a gallon of water and apply it early on, once sprouts begin to form. This micronutrient helps move calcium and sugars, keeping those little cabbage-like heads firmer and sweeter. Of course, you'll want to maintain steady soil moisture because dryness can intensify bitterness. Harvest them after a light frost for an even sweeter flavor. When your sprouts are balanced in nutrients, they cook up tender, not tough, making them more appealing to people who usually turn their noses up at this misunderstood veggie. Number 14. Promote sturdy cucumber vines. Cucumbers that flop around or break under the weight of their fruit clearly need stronger vine development. Grandpa's routine is 1 teaspoon of borax mixed in a gallon of water poured around the base of the plants right after they're transplanted. Proper boron levels beef up cell walls, resulting in sturdier vines that can climb a trellis without snapping. Add a consistent watering schedule, and the cucumbers will grow uniformly, with less chance of weird curvature or uneven coloring. This method also improves overall yield because healthy vines produce more flowers and keep going until late summer, giving you a steady supply of fresh cucumbers for salads, pickling, or just slicing and snacking. Number 15, improve radish quality. Radishes sometimes turn out tough or hollow instead of crisp and peppery. Grandpa's tip is half a teaspoon of borax per gallon of water, lightly worked into the soil before seeding. If the soil is rich in boron, the radishes can form round, juicy bulbs instead of putting all their energy into leaves. Articles about root development confirm that boron supports sugar production and consistent cell growth in underground vegetables. The payoff is a crunchy radish with that perfect snap, ideal for salads or quick pickles. Just be sure to keep the bed watered regularly, because if the soil dries out, boron uptake slows down, and you might see some radishes splitting. Number 16, encourage healthier okra plants. Okra can shoot up pretty fast, but if boron is lacking, those stems can end up weak, and the pods might not develop fully. Dissolve 1 teaspoon of borax in a gallon of water, pour it around the okra seedlings, and keep the area consistently moist. Grandpa claims that balanced boron levels help okra plants sustain their quick growth without toppling over. You'll get sturdier stems and more tender pods. Okra can be picky about temperature swings, so a stable environment plus adequate micronutrients is your best bet. This hack helps you avoid that disappointment of seeing tall, spindly plants that produce just a few tough pods. Number 17, fight nutrient lockout. Sometimes you apply fertilizer, but your plants still act malnourished. That could mean the minerals are locked up in the soil chemistry. Grandpa's fix is to add a single teaspoon of borax to a gallon of water once a season, then work it into the topsoil. Boron helps break down certain bonds between elements, allowing the plants to actually use the nutrients present. This is especially true if you've been adding lots of lime or high phosphorus fertilizers. Those products can tie up micronutrients, but a little boron brings them back into play. Keep your soil aerated, water on schedule, and you'll notice an overall boost in plant health without chasing a long list of specialized supplements. Number 18, promote bigger zucchini. Zucchini can end up small or oddly shaped when pollination is incomplete, but micronutrients like boron also play a major role. Grandpa's way is dissolving a teaspoon of borax in a gallon of water and applying it around the plants just before they begin to flower. Make sure you're not overwatering or underwatering. Both extremes can mess with nutrient uptake. When boron is balanced, zucchini plants form stronger blossoms and hold on to them, creating plump fruits that aren't watery or spongy. You'll end up with those perfect deep green zucchinis that everyone likes to grill, bake into bread, or sauté. Plus, healthy zucchini plants often keep producing for weeks, giving you a steady supply all season. Number 19, get fuller heads of broccoli. Broccoli can grow spindly stems and loose heads if the plant can't move calcium around effectively, and that's linked to boron availability. A tablespoon of borax mixed into 5 gallons of water, poured at the start of the season, is Grandpa's recommended ratio. Carefully spread it around the root zone so it doesn't pool on the surface. This method ensures the plant's cells expand properly, leading to denser, more compact crowns. If you've ever had broccoli heads that come out looking half-empty or skeletal, you'll appreciate what a difference boron makes. A strong root system plus stable watering is essential. Once the heads have formed, you'll see uniform florets without weird gaps, which is exactly what you need for fresh eating or freezing. Number 20, improve corn kernel fill. It's frustrating to peel back corn husks only to find scattered kernels or missing rows. While pollination is key, especially if your corn is too close together, boron deficiency can also cause incomplete kernel fill. Grandpa dissolves 1 teaspoon of borax in a gallon of water and pours it around the corn plants once they're about a foot tall. That helps ensure a steady micronutrient supply when the tassels and silks develop. Adequate boron supports the transfer of sugars and other nutrients into the developing kernels, making them plump and full. Keep the area evenly watered, because dryness can interfere with the plant's ability to move those nutrients. By harvest time, you'll have juicy ears with minimal blank spots, giving you a sweeter, more enjoyable corn on the cob experience.